This video photo album was put together to honor two very special people, Leslie and Rita Mutziger. They are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary on May 7, 1996, and we thought it would be fun to highlight some of their most memorable and eventful times in their years together. We also thought you'd like to know them before they were married. We'll tell you about that too. So let's get started. Here is Leslie when he was very small. Gee, Les, you look great in that dress. Les was born on April 8, 1917, to Frank and Mary Mutziger from Ethan. Les had one half-sister, Irene, 4 brothers, Bud, Leo, and Lawrence and Francis, and 3 sisters, Della, Alice, and Sylvia. We are sorry, but Sylvia hasn't come along yet, so she's not shown in this picture. Oh, by the way, Les is the cute one in the middle. You know, the one with the white dress on. Here is Rita, also in her fine white dress. Rita was born on September 9, 1925, to Joseph and Josephine Weber from Dimmock. Unfortunately, we were not able to locate a baby picture showing Rita with all of her brothers and sisters. However, we did come up with this picture of Rita with 2 of her sisters, Sally and Lucille. Rita is on the far right. You know, the one with the pretty dark brown hair. Rita has other brothers and sisters as well. Listed in order, they are Sally, Lucille, who is deceased, Rita, Leonard, Helen, Stella, Alvin, who is deceased, Jerome, Virgil, Marlis, and Bill. As far as childhood pictures go, well, they were a bit scarce. We only found a few. This one is of Les. His sister Alice claims that Les is ready to go to Mass after the tornado winds wrecked the trees. Les, you're a little late with the praying. Don't know where this is, but probably somewhere in South Dakota. The only picture we could find of Rita as a youngster, well, as a teenager, was this one out on the home place. Rita's sister Sally particularly points out how attractive Rita looks at this time with that scarf tied tightly under her chin and her stylish saddle shoes and socks. I bet it was this look that attracted her beau Leslie. And speaking of Les, well, by now he is growing up and acting more and more like a fox on the run and looking for someone to suit his fancy. Rita says she met Les while she was working for Della Wormers at the dairy in Ethan. According to Rita, Les saw her there, called her up, and asked her out to a movie. That was in the spring of 1942. Rita couldn't have been happier. They also did a little partying at the Dimmock Dance Hall. That's Les guzzling and Rita sitting innocently, very innocently beside him. In August 1942, Les went into the Army. There he served for 3.5 years. What a handsome man who made it his goal to get this lovely lady to be his wife. Les and Rita continued to court during this time, enjoying their time together when Les was home on breaks. At that time, Les had a 1937 Chevy Coupe. I imagine here he is on his way to pick Rita up for a date. Another picture during their fun courting days. According to Rita, the reason she is laughing is because Les is pinching her. You never know what is behind Les's quiet smile and twinkling eyes. He's really more mischievous than most people think. Les got out of the Army at Christmas time, 1945. They decided it was time to make marriage plans and married the following spring, May 7, 1946. Les and Rita had a double wedding ceremony, sharing the happy day with Rita's sister Lucille. Lucille married Everett Muth. We are sad to say that Everett and Lucille have both passed away and are not with us today. Their 7 children, however, have remained an active part of the family, and Les and Rita have been grateful over the years for the joy the Muth children have brought to their lives. They are grateful that this day can be celebrated with the Muth children as well. The wedding ceremony took place at 10 a.m. at the St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church in Dimmock, with Father Schmidt officiating. Rita says it was a beautiful day, and they celebrated with family members at the Weber farmhouse by serving noon lunch and supper. Rita saw stars in her eyes most of the day. Here is Rita showing off her new ring. Well, Les, he was doing somersaults and cartwheels because he had finally gotten the woman of his dreams. When Les and Rita were first married, They moved to a farm west of Ethan. They took up farming and raised cows, sheep, geese, and whatever else came along. They also raised kids. Their first young one who came along was Judy. She was born on October 7, 1947. Judy was a sheer delight to the new parents who filled their already busy lives with even more activity. Here, the new mom is showing off her dark-eyed, curly-haired toddler. "Gee, Rita, you're looking great. Saddle shoes, striped overalls, and a bandana in your hair." Here is Judy with an admiring Grandpa Mutziger. On April 15, 1949, a son was born, James Leslie. His father was elated as he now had someone to eventually help him with the farming and the farm chores. James was a good-looking boy who was precocious and smart, just like his father. On May 20th, 1950, Susan was born. What a cute rascal who looked a lot like her mom and still does. Now with the family multiplying, the parents decided it was time for a move to a different farm. This was taken shortly before their move in 1953 to a farm east of Ethan. With this relocation, Les and Rita remained on this farm for the duration of their farming years and raised their family. Rita busied herself with helping Les with the farming, raising the children, and of course, every year raised a large garden. Check that garden plot out in the background. Plenty of room for peas and cucumbers. We all remember those hollyhocks and the white picket fence. On August 21, 1954, their last child, Lois, was born. Lois, being the baby of the family, ruled the roost. We all decided, though, that it was good to spoil at least one member of the family. Here, anyway, Les is putting on a good show that he has everything in control. Lois, however, usually showed him that she had a better way in mind. And this is a picture of the family, a little more grown up, and perhaps a little more sophisticated. As was mentioned earlier, a large part of Les and Rita's life was spent on the family farm east of Ethan. Because it holds so many wonderful memories, we thought it would be nice to show a few photos of the farm. The farmhouse, which was notoriously blockaded by a huge snowbank, the old red barn where Les and Rita spent many hours milking the cows, the feed house with spider webs and mice. Les claims he also stored many treasures in there. And the memorable corn cribs. These corn cribs hold many fond memories for the kids, too. Sue says she and Lois played house in those old corn cribs, and on one occasion almost started a fire. Well, what Les and Rita didn't know then won't hurt them now. Les and Rita's 4 children attended Worthy No. 1 grade school, a country school located 2 miles south of the farm. Les, being as patriotic and civic-minded as he is, served on the school board there from 1955 to 1970. During that time, the 4 children received all of their elementary education there. Everyone agrees that Les was a great asset to the school board and took his job seriously. Every summer, Rita had the task of cleaning the school for the following school year. The children got in on that too and didn't want any part of it. In August 1960, the well diggers came. It was in that year that running water came to the Mutziger farm. I think it would be accurate to say that all 4 children remember that year well. The pounding of the drill went on for days until finally one day the water began to run. Now that running water had come to the farm, Rita and Les had more time to relax, like attending a Sunday afternoon picnic at Hitchcock Park in Mitchell. Rita is very handsomely decked out in her spirited, multicolored daisy hat. Again, here is the relaxed couple all set to go out on the town on a Saturday evening, after the cows had been milked and the pigs and the chickens had been fed. In 1971, Rita started working at the Holiday Inn in Mitchell. She worked there for almost 20 years. During that time, Rita won a very prestigious award. She was honored as one of the top 100 housekeepers in the Holiday Inns in the United States. We were all very proud of her, as Rita had worked hard for that honor. While working at the Holiday Inn, Les and Rita took time to participate in many parties and holiday festivities. I believe this is a Halloween party. Who is that lady with the funny nose and the man with the black hat and beard? Rita yearly took the opportunity of hosting Christmas parties for the maids. Here she is, chumming up with Santa, while Les looks on and thinks his thoughts that only Les would dare to think. Don't kid yourself, though. Les enjoyed those parties just as much as Rita. Well, folks, it's like this. Farm life brought many unexpected occurrences. Sometimes the winds hit, tearing down trees and buildings. Sometimes the floods came, causing road impasses. Other times the snow became so deep that we had to go around the banks rather than through them. Sometimes it was difficult to get out of the house and the garage. Sometimes it took days just to plow out the driveway. The best part, though, was that Les usually took things in strides and found humor in most things. And Rita, well, she eventually made the snow her friend and learned to play in it. Even though Les and Rita enjoyed the farm life, they decided it was time to begin making preparations for an easier way of life. In 1976, they bought a homestead on the outskirts of Mitchell. Much remodeling, both inside and out, had to be done. After a lot of hard work and man hours, Les and Rita had built their dream house. Now it was time to say goodbye to the farm. On April 15, 1985, Les and Rita had their farm sale. Lots of neighbors, family members, and friends showed up. Rita says that old flat trailer got sold too. Here is Les telling the auctioneer all about the rake that someone was going to be lucky enough to buy. It was a family affair, and even though it was hard to say goodbye to the farm, everyone knew there would be something better down the line. Les and Rita were glad when it was all over. Time for a beer. With all this commotion about the farm sale, we almost forgot to tell you about one very important event occurring to Rita. In 1980, she had her bunions removed. Rita had casts on both of her legs, and those casts were up to her knees. To most of her observers, they were grossed out. But Rita, she was laughing. This was just another event. She braved it like a trooper, and to this day, she'll tell you it was the best thing she ever did. She was even on crutches for a while. As for Les, he was glad it was over because he was tired of eating fried potatoes. Just kidding, Rita. We know you took good care of Les the whole time. By now, the 4 children have grown and have started families of their own. Rita and Les are now taking more time to relax and do fun things. Because their oldest daughter, Judy, had made the decision to make her home in Switzerland, Les and Rita thought it would be the perfect opportunity for them to make several visits there. In 1976, Les and Rita made their first trip to Europe. They visited Rome, Venice, and Florence, Italy. While there, they saw many beautiful sights and met many interesting people. Rita says they were never in need of the best wines and beers. While there, they even discovered where their ancestors came from. In 1981, they made a second trip to Europe and visited Austria and Germany. Les and Rita were quite dismayed. Somehow, their cows were not the same. No wonder Les and Rita moved off the farm. In 1983, Les and Rita had the fine pleasure of traveling to Hawaii. While picking pineapple may have been fun, Les found other things much more appealing. In 1989, they made another trip to Europe and visited Liechtenstein. Here they are enjoying sights at the Matterhorn. Les and Rita have also traveled to Canada and Las Vegas, being escorted by their daughter Sue. She was doing her own sort of travels at that time. In 1992, Les and Rita attended the Wormers family reunion in Glacier National Park in Montana. While there, they had a wonderful time seeing the sights and visiting relatives. Here is a picture of Rita with Margie Wormers, who now lives in California. Margie was a waitress for Rita's wedding and assisted in serving the dinner. Whenever they get together, they have a great time of catching up on things. In August of 1994, Rita and Les went for a 4th visit to Europe and were accompanied by Norb and Marlis Miller. Now Europe had its hands full. What one didn't think of, the other did. What's that you're drinking, Rita? Probably water. This was taken in Judy's home a few days before they returned to the United States. By now, Les and Rita have finished off their new home in Mitchell. Not only was a lot of work done on the inside, but the outside also had major changes. At Christmas time in particular, Rita decorates with holiday trimmings, bows, and lights. In the back of the house, a porch has been added, which since has been used for family and friend gatherings. Les and Rita are quite the gardeners, as they have added many shrubs and flowers. Although maintaining the yard and the flowers requires a lot of time and energy, Rita and Les agree that they both enjoy the yard work. One year, they even earned Yard of the Month from the Mitchell Garden Club. As mentioned, Les and Rita enjoy their new home in Mitchell, and especially enjoy it when family and friends stop in for a visit. Rita usually has the coffee pot on, and when that's gone, she puts on another. This was taken when Judy was home in 1991. What a handsome bunch! And what a nice background for a family photo. Les and Jim share the month of April with their birthdays falling 1 week apart. Whenever possible, birthday cakes are shared and card games are had. Les, what's so funny? Speaking of card games, it should be known that Les has a reputation within the family for his wicked card games. Word has it that some of the sisters-in-laws refuse to sit next to him while playing cards. It's got something to do with the bidding. Lori Weber says, absolutely no way will she take her place next to Les. Their home has had the pleasure of hosting family get-togethers and Sunday afternoon visits. Most of Les's brothers and sisters and spouses live in the area and stop in when they can. This picture was taken at Bud and Tina Mutziger's 40th wedding anniversary. Les's two brothers, Leo and Lawrence, have passed away and are no longer with us. Most of Rita's brothers and sisters live within the state of South Dakota. The only exception is little brother Bill, who lives in Texas. Again, Les and Rita are so glad when folks stop in for a visit. A quick lunch or a quick cup of coffee is something Rita is known for. Christmas time is always fun with everyone being together, sharing meals and opening gifts. Sometimes things get to be a bit chaotic, but Les and Rita always enjoy having everyone over. Grandchildren acting like children, children acting like children, and grandfathers acting like children. Is that you, Les? Les and Rita are both retired now, but a lot of people say you would never know it. They seem to be just as busy now as they were when they were both employed outside of the home. We'd like to give you a bird's eye view of some of their regular activities in their retirement years. Les and Rita begin their day by going for coffee at the I-90 truck stop in Mitchell. There they meet other relatives and catch up on the important events of the day. Sometimes Rita heads over to Barney's Market and helps out with cashiering, or with whatever else needs to be done. Oops, here's granddaughter Chelsea at the cash register. I think probably the sun and the heavy workload at Barney's Market got to be too much for Rita. Sometimes Les and Rita have the grandchildren over. Not only do Les and Rita provide fun and excitement for the grandchildren, but sometimes it's the other way around. Les always did enjoy those good mousers, but for some reason, he's not smiling on this picture. Les busies himself with sheep or geese, buying them in the spring, only to keep down the weeds, and selling them in the fall. This can be quite a job at times, and sometimes is more than Les bargains for. Rita takes daily walks in the neighborhood, sometimes walking 5 to 6 miles a day. As a result, she has become quite well known in the neighborhood. Sometimes Les accompanies her, but he usually saves his energy for more exciting things. More exciting things, you say? What could be more exciting than a stroll in the neighborhood? Well, how about an overnight trip to the local casino? Les and Rita are known to frequently take the bus or the limo to the casino to get rid of a few nickels. Les and Rita are the first to tell you that they haven't made much money doing this, but then they don't spend much either. Anyway, this is what they tell their family and friends. Les and Rita also do some part-time work at the Porter family home at Mitchell Lake. Recently, the Porters built a new house, and Les and Rita keep quite busy with the yard work and with whatever else needs to be done. Sometimes Les and Rita just take in local activities in Mitchell, like the hot air balloon race, which was held a few years ago. This was quite a spectacle which everyone enjoyed. Do you see that person in the box, waving? That's probably Rita racing on ahead of everybody else. Sometimes you will just find Les sharing words of wisdom with whoever will care to listen. This is grandson Jason at his high school class graduation. Oh yes, and every spring there is at least one garage sale, or else Rita declares she will take her goods to the Salvation Army. Rita also gives blood regularly, and both Les and Rita help out with community service, Meals on Wheels. Well, that's enough about all the work they do in retirement. Quite frankly, it kind of makes one tired just to hear about all the things they do. Before we finish this video, we would like to update you on Les and Rita's children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Their oldest daughter, Judy, has made her home in Switzerland. Judy has established her business there and tries to get home for a visit every 4 or 5 years. Judy has 2 very special cats who live with her, Oscar and Nadine. Jim married Karen Schurz of Mitchell. They now live in Howard. Jim is employed at the Farmer's Elevator there. They have 3 children, Terry, Tammy, and Tommy. Terry and Tammy have both graduated from high school, and Tommy is presently a junior there. Sue and her daughter Chelsea live in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Chelsea is in 5th grade. Several years ago, Sue completed her master's degree in counseling and is presently employed as a mental health therapist at a large corporation in Minneapolis. Lois married Ron Thuringer of Ethan. They presently live in Madison. They have 3 children, Jason, Becky, and Robbie. Lois is presently employed at Stan's Men's Shop in Madison, and Robbie wants you to know that he loves to hunt, fish, and play sports. Les and Rita also have 1 great-grandchild, Zachary Mutziger, who is now almost 2 years old. Zachary and his mom Tammy live in Howard. Les and Rita enjoy their family and friends. They also very much enjoy their extracurricular activities and agree that it is probably this busy lifestyle that keeps them energetic and young. We think it is pretty exciting to celebrate a 50th wedding anniversary, and that's why we put this video together to honor them. Les and Rita, we think you are special, and you deserve a hand. We hope you'll celebrate with us when we have our 50th. Life, laughter, and love make up your lives. Here's a toast to you and all that you do. The richness of your life genuinely shines through. God bless you, take care, and have a great tomorrow. From your kids, Judy, Jim, Sue, and Lois, we love you.